Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting video. I am Tamara Agua, and from my previous video I spoke about doing a whole series on how to make your own cosmetic products from scratch. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys all you need to know about the materials and the equipment you need to make your own cosmetic products from scratch. But if you're watching me for the first time, you're absolutely welcome. Please do consider subscribing if this is the kind of content that you're interested in, and also do not forget to turn on your post notifications so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. So guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. So before I started making cosmetic products, each time I think about the word cosmetics, I usually think about like things to be applied on the face to beautify the face. But that is true, but not entirely true. So a cosmetic product is not only to be applied on the face to beautify the face. A cosmetic product is any substance or mixture that is intended to be applied on the external parts of the human body, including the epidermis, the external genital areas, the hair, the lips, the nails, the teeth, the mucous membranes of the oral cavity, for the sole purpose of beautifying, cleansing, improving appearance, and also changing the appearance of the body. So all the items that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today are items that some of them might already be in your kitchen. Some of them you would have to buy, but I promise that these items are easily accessible and they are affordable for a beginner. So I have written down the list of everything that you need in my notepad. So if I am looking down, please pardon me. That's because I'm trying not to miss anything or skip any item. The first material that we'll need is isopropyl alcohol. It is also called rubbing alcohol, and this is very compulsory because we're going to be using that to disinfect or sanitize our working surfaces, and also to sanitize and disinfect our containers and anything that we'll be making our products in, because we don't want our products to get contaminated, or we don't want our surroundings to be breeding grounds for microorganisms. Moving on, the next item that we'll need is disposable gloves. So in as much as the disposable gloves, this is very important, by the way, because you'll be using that to protect your hands from the chemicals that we'll be using to make the skincare products or the cosmetic products. And also we're going to be by wearing gloves, you're going to be preventing the products from getting contaminated. The next material that we'll need is the Pyrex measuring cups or beakers. These are actually optional. It'll be nice if you can get these items, but if you can't, then an option is to use heat-safe bowls, any heat-safe bowl that is lying around in your house. But be aware that once you start using any bowls in the house for making cosmetics, then that bowl will be designated for making cosmetics alone. Don't use your bowls to make cosmetics, to make food, or to make anything else. Just designate that bowl or that container, whatever, to making the cosmetic alone. The next material that we will need is a spatula. This is used to scoop out products from our mixing bowls, or it's used to make the cleaning process go easier and smoother, but this is actually optional. The next material that we'll need is a designated mixing spoon, because at some point in the cosmetic making process, you might have to mix some ingredients, hand mix some ingredients together, and you will need spoons to help you do that. So you can use a regular spoon, but just make sure that those spoons are designated for cosmetic making only, and not using them to eat or anything else. The next equipment that we'll need is the digital measuring scale. I cannot emphasize enough how important this item is. So if you want to use, if you're going to be making a DIY skincare or anything like that, you can get away with using measuring spoons or measuring cups for your measurements. But if you want to make cosmetic products from scratch, there is no two ways around it. You have to get your digital scales. So getting a digital scale that is that accurate, that measures as little as 0.0001 gram could get very, very pricey for a beginner. And the way to get about it, the simple way to get about around it is to use digital kitchen scales. Kitchen scales are very affordable, and you would have to get two types of kitchen scales. The first one would have the capacity to measure as little as 0.01 grams up to 500 grams, and the second digital scale will be able to measure from 1 gram to 5,000 grams or 3,000 grams, whichever the case may be, and they're very affordable. The reason why I've asked you to get two types of scales is because sometimes you might want to make very small quantities of your cosmetic products, and you would need a scale that can measure small quantities very accurately. And sometimes you might want to make products up to, you might want to scale up in your product size, and the small quantity measuring scale might be too small for your scale up quantity. So that helps you to be able to measure across your smaller quantities to your large quantities. Not very large, but yeah, large enough for a beginner. The next material that you will need is your disposable plastic pipettes. These are very important, especially if you're going to be making small quantity products, or you're going to be measuring small quantities like 0.03 grams. How on earth are you going to be able to pour accurately 0.03 grams on your scale? So the pipette helps you to measure in drops, so you can accurately measure small quantities. This is optional if you don't need to get it, but if you want to get your accurate measurements when it comes to very small quantities, I would advise that you get your disposable plastic pipettes. Moving on, the next equipment that we'll need is a hot plate or a stovetop. So if you cook at all in your house, then you're good to go with this particular one, because at some point, especially if you want to make things like your emulsions, your creams, your lotions, you want to heat up your butters and all of that, then you will need a heat source. So if you already have a hot plate or a stove, or you cook at home, then you're good to go with this one. The next material on my list is a funnel. This is optional, but it is very helpful when you have to pour in your products into your storage container. So if you have things like maybe a face serum, a shower gel, or things products that run easily, you could use a funnel to transfer into your storage container. But if you have things like maybe gels or creams, thick creams, you could use a piping bag could come in handy, or a Ziploc bag could also come in handy. The next material you need is a packaging of choice. This is called a packaging of choice because at the end of the day, it depends on what product you're trying to make. So if you're making things like a lotion or a shower gel, you'd typically need a bottle to store them in. Or if you're making things like a gel or a butter or a cream or like a scrub or something, you would need something like a jar to store them in. But at the end of the day, it all depends on what you have available to you at that moment. So whatever is available, just have it in mind that you will need a container or packaging to store your products in. You're also going to need an immersion blender. It's also called a stick blender. This is very important if you're going to be making things like lotions, creams, your emulsions generally. If you're going to be making them, then it is important that you have a stick blender. You will also need a thermometer gun or a mercury thermometer. This is usually to help make your skincare products, especially emulsions, to help you make sure that your phases are in the right temperature. More on this in another video, but it is important that you have your thermometers or any kind of thermometers that you can lay your hands on. If it's the gun or the mercury ones, then that will be fine. Another material that you need is a label. This is optional, but it is important because when you make your cosmetic products, it is advisable to label your products properly with the name and the date that you've made, the name of the product and the dates that you've made the product. This makes it easier for you to identify the product and also to track the shelf life of the product. The last but not the least material that you need is a pH strip. This helps to check the pH of your product. You want your product to be performing at the optimum pH specific for that product and specific for the part of your skin that you're going to be applying the product on. So this is optional, but it is important for you to get it. That was quite an exhaustive list, but we've come to the end of today's video. All the items that I mentioned, some of them you already have in your house, some of them you might have to get them from places like Amazon or eBay or any local market around you. Please, if you have any questions or any comments, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be there to answer all your questions and all your queries and all of that. And also, if you found this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to share this video with your friends and families. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Please hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so you don't miss my next video. I'll see you guys in my next video, in the next episode. Bye. Love you.